Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James and it's time for another instructive chess miniature. Alright, we got Morozevich against Miachel Adams. Here we go. This is unfortunately a Evans Gambit gone wrong. Well, definitely one of my favorite ways to play against e5, at least if they let me with the bishop c5 variations. Let's take a look. Here we go e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. Here we got the Italian opening. And here there's two main moves here for black. Either black will bring out the knight or the bishop here. And this one, black plays bishop c5, which allows us to play our beloved Evans Gambit. Here we go in the Joko piano. And what do you play for the Evans Gambit? Hopefully you know it. Here we go and play pawn to b4. Why give up this pawn? Well, very simple. One of the best strategies you can do if you don't want to gambit is just play pawn c3 in the classical variation and just play pawn to d4. The whole idea is to get two pawns in the center here and get a free tempo or a free move by attacking the bishop. So what does b4 do? Well, after b4 here, the bishop is pretty much forced to take. That's the best move. And after that, we get a free tempo now with c3. Bishop to a5. Remember, don't move the bishop back to c5 here, as now white gets another free tempo, and now the gambit line is actually in full throttle. Here, white is definitely better. They say it's okay to give away a pawn for 3 moves for your opponent. In this case, the bishop would have moved 4 times with bishop c5, b4, c5, and then after d4, it has to move again. So you've got full compensation for the pawn. That's why here black plays a better move, and after c3 does not play the bishop back to c5, but actually back to a5. One of the most common moves to play here. All right, here we go. White goes ahead and plays d4 anyways. This is the best move with theory. And black takes the pawn. And here we go ahead and castle. And black plays one of the best moves here, which is knight g to e7. You have to be very careful. There's a lot of pitfalls here, especially if you don't play this too much. Here, a lot of people might be asking, why don't you take the pawn on c3? Here, after this, queen to b3, white is going to win back the pawn, but also get a free tempo by doing this. And here, you even get to put pressure on the f7 pawn. So you have to watch out for that pitfall. Another one you might be asking is, hey, can we play the knight to f6? Again, another very bad idea. Here, if you could play pawn to e5, you're at least getting that kind of equal position over here. So here, after e5, the knight will have to move, and you lose a tempo over here. All right, back to the game. Knight to e7 gets played, and here, well, you can see that e5 can't be played to harass the knight. And, well, here comes Morozevich, knight to g5. By all means, not one of my favorite moves to be played here. The rule is do not move the same piece twice in the opening. And here, well, there's only one move for black to play. And Miachel Adams, I'm sure, did not have a hard time finding it. Black to move. What do you play here? What is the best way to play in this position? Or hopefully you push pause and try to figure it out. Remember, playing chess is not only about attacking, but also with defense. And here the best move was pawn to d5. Here someone might have said, hey, we could just castle here, but this is why the knight went to g5. Yes, we have really good pressure on the f7 pawn, but the idea was queen to h5 for now another double attack. So now f7, h7, they are now gone. You cannot defend against all these threats. It is now +3 here for white, and white is easily winning. So the whole idea here is to block this bishop from attacking on f7 here. So black goes ahead and plays pawn to d5. A nice little rule, especially in the e4, e5 games, is if you can play d5, you're equal if not better. Why is that? Because when the d5 pawn comes out, you're staking out your claim in the center and also getting your last piece out, which is your bishop. This is typically the last one to get out. The knights will get out first, the bishops, and then the slide square bishop will be the last one. And so d5 got played. Pawn takes on d5 and knight to e5 here. Again, watch out for those pitfalls. If knight takes on d5, we have the exact same thing as a fried liver attack. And what do you play in that one? Here we get that nice idea. Knight takes on f7, king takes on f7, and queen to f3 check. It doesn't matter how you try to block, the d5 knight will be getting lost here. And unfortunately, king e6 does not look any good here with rook e1 check coming into the mix. Yeah, this just looks terrible. So we don't take back here. Instead, the knight jumped to e5. A nice little tempo off the bishop by attacking it and also defending on f7 here. That's why they call him Mickey the Tricky. And, well, bishop to b3 got played to save the bishop. Here, black now goes ahead and castles, and c takes d4. Already at this point, black is in a better position. Here, unfortunately, Morozevich was not able to create enough counterplay in this game. And, well, he does try his best here, but, well, Mickey's just in control the whole time. Knight to g4 over here. Excuse me. Queen to f3. A nice little move here. Here it develops the queen, but also is going to hold on to this d5 pawn because why not? Let's hold on to this extra pawn as long as we can. Knight back to f6. Now we see that this d5 pawn is going to be lost pretty soon here. Bishop to a3. A nice way to develop the bishop, and also says, you know what, I'm going to try to hold on to it just a little bit longer here so the knight can't move because it's in a pin over here. Black plays h6. Now we're going to have to kick the knight away, and the knight really has no good square to move to. Knight to e4. Whenever you're attacking, you don't want to make trades here, and this allows exactly that. If the knight would have gone back to h3, there's quite a few moves here, but I think an annoying one that I would probably play is this bishop to g4 here. And it's going to kick off the defender for the d5 pawn, and where's the queen go? I guess maybe to g3, and look at all this harassing moves that can happen here. Not looking good. So knight to e4 got played, and here we go. Knight takes on e4. Queen takes on e4. Develop with the threat. Rook to e8. Here you're definitely sensing something went bad because, again, this knight hasn't even gotten out, so you don't even have your full pieces out, and you gave up a pawn just to do this. All right, bishop back to b2. Knight to f5 here. A nice discovery move over here for the knight. Queen to f4. Bishop to b4. Looking to reorganize the knight to come to this better square diagonal. All of a sudden, because white's knight is not here, it's not guarding the weakness of h2. And remember, whenever you're castled, h2 is the weakness and f2 is the weakness when you're uncastled. So the bishop's going back over here to start coordinating attack on the weak square when you are castled. Knight a3. This knight finally gets out into the game. I'm sure white was finally happy about this. Bishop d6. Queen back to d2. Queen to h4, and here the attack starts. Look at these beautiful bishops over here, and the knight ready all to attack on the king side. Oof, it's pretty much all but game over here. g3 got played. Queen to h3. Now we have a snug little hole here. I mean, there wasn't really anything better to do here. If you tried something like h3, there's going to be a lot of ideas about sacrificing on h3 later on. And here black can continue with something like bishop to f4, queen to d3. Oof. And look at this dirty move here by the computer. Knight to e3 here. Oof, gosh. So this allows the sacrificing idea. If f takes on e3, you have bishop takes on e3 check. And here you have to play very careful. King h1 again will just fall for it. Bishop takes on h3. Too many lines here to go over. But just know that black would have just too much over here. And look at half of white's army over here on the queen side. Back to the game. g3 got played. And now queen to h3, now taking on these light squares. Knight c4. Pawn to b5, kicking the knight. Knight to e5. You're more than welcome to go ahead and try to take on d6 here. This is something that we want to happen. After knight takes, now the light square bishop can come into the game looking for that lollipop checkmate. Knight to e5. Bishop to b7. Rook a to e1. a5. a3. Here, black's just pushing over here on the queen side. Here he has a very good kingside attack, but also, well, you have a passed pawn over here, and passed pawns must be pushed. A very good idea is to attack on both sides of the board at the same time. It becomes very hard for the defender to try and defend both. b4, pawn takes, bishop takes, and this, unfortunately, was the win of the game right here, and Morozevich, unfortunately, missed this. It looks like it's just a skewer here, and, well, the only way to stop it was to play bishop to c3, but now it's black to move and win. Can you find the win here? Or hopefully you push pause and try to figure this out. Here we go ahead and play it. Bishop takes on c3, queen takes on c3, and this makes the queen unprotected. Now here was the tactic. Hopefully you saw it a few moves ago. If you did it, that's okay. You might be able to find it right now. Black to move and win. -9 right here, just up a whole queen. Knight to h4, and unfortunately there's no good way to stop the checkmate on g2 or lose your queen on c3. Here the checkmate square g2 can only be defended if you play pawn takes, which again will just take the queen over here. So that was the whole point of this idea over here. Once bishop b4 got played, there you cannot play bishop c3 without knowing you're going to be losing the piece, and plus the exchange over here. So after the queen took on c3, knight to h4, and it is game over. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.